Okay, in today's demonstration, I'm going to do a structured painting. By structured, I mean there's going to be a definite compositional structure. It's going to be a layered painting. And I'm going to use Sgraffito, and I'm going to use a limited color palette. I'm going to start with a base of this burnt sienna. I'm going to show you how to make a wash. And then the colors I've chosen, kind of unusual. And I've got this new paint, this brand called Charvin that I really like. The colors are unusual. I'm going to use this neutral Savannah, an indigo, a little bit of oriental red, which I love. Okay, so first step is creating a wash. There's a couple of ways of doing that. So I'm going to split my canvas in half with the same color, but show you how to do that using my favorite Wooster brush. So I added a little bit of water here to the surface. If I've got a liquid acrylic, I can just drop it on to the water and create a wash, a background color that way. Okay, what if I don't have that liquid acrylic? I can squeeze out some of my regular burnt sienna paint, mix in water, and I don't get really, and then just add it to the canvas. I don't get really fussy about this. I just want to get some color down, take away that white, which is kind of intimidating. Okay, then it's a warm day here, so I would put that out in the sun to dry, probably take about 5 minutes. And then we're doing cooking show style here. Okay, then there's my canvas. And I had recommended doing several of these today, because if your paint is too wet, then you can always go to the next one while the other one's drying. Okay, so I am going to do, we've been talking about Mondrian, so I am going to block in a very loose structure with my charcoal pencil. Going abstract here. Okay, I'll go darker so you can see it. I'm going to use some non-traditional tools. If you don't have this silicone spatula, that's okay. I'm going to use that, and I'll also demonstrate applying paint with an angled palette knife. But the silicone spatula, it's very satisfying putting the paint on. I'm going to put it on thick, impasto. Okay, so, and I'm going to go right in back. What's nice about this is a very sharp edge. I'm going to go right in back of that black line and pull. Going pretty lightly here. And what's great about this, and I'll turn so you can see it, is I could put on a big thick glob of paint like that, and when that dries, I have all that texture. I can carve into it. I can pull some out. And because it's so thick, I've got time to play with that paint. It's rather sculptural. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Pulling the paint off of this silicone brush using the magic 45-degree angle. Okay, there's that. I'll go a little bit more transparent with this one so I can see some of my background color showing through. So I'm playing with thickness, opacity, transparency, letting this background layer show through. So this is where paint becomes somewhat sculptural, which I respond to. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go angled palette knife, just so in case you didn't have this silicone brush, you could do it with an angled palette knife. Same thing again, low 45-degree angle. You kind of have to flip this around to get into certain areas. I'm not demonstrating curves here, so that would be interesting, right? To do a curve, you might have to use a brush, and that's okay too. But the goal is to leave some of that underpainting, the background layer showing through. Okay, now I'm going to do some Sgraffito in here. And I'm going to use this chopstick. I've got this thin toothpicky thing that I had some hors d'oeuvre on from a restaurant, and I've got my palette knife that's got little teeth in it. Okay, so I can draw, again, the 45-degree angle. I can draw in. Here's a bit of a curve. And again, if I don't like it, no big deal. Just go back over that. And see, I don't like that. And then do it again. Okay, this, I like that. It's going to get a really, really fine line, super fine, but expressive. Okay. And I can keep playing with that till I get the lines that I like. Now I have to let that dry. Again, if I stick it in the sun, that's probably will be dry in about, I'm going to say 10 minutes. Okay. Cooking show style, there it is. Okay, so I've got my structure, right? And I've got it without, well, here's the black line, but it's not this heavy-handed black line. So this is called Charvan paint, Georgia. So now what's cool, okay, hang on, let me go.
But are they oils or acrylics?
They're acrylics. And if you can wait till I'm done recording, that'd be great.
Sure.
Please remute. You could do this with oils, however, you'd have to wait longer for things to dry. Okay. Okay, shoot, what did I do with it? I was going to do some more stamping on here, actually, but now I can't. Here it is. Okay, don't have to do this, but sometimes I like to bring the initial color from the bottom layer to the top. I'm going to use this Mondrian stamp and put it in here. So these are just choices, okay? Let's see. So I'm going to paint this burnt sienna on here. I have to work quickly because it's so hot. See if I get anything. Okay, so it's pretty faint, but I can come in later and beef that up. Now I'm going to take some of this lighter, I think it's unbleached titanium. I'm going to moosh it around on the surface. Okay. But I'm not going to completely cover that background. I'm going lightly. I want some of that to show through. And I'm kind of scrubbing it around. It's a little bit of almost dry brush, but I'm scrubby. So what's underneath shows through. Again, I can come back and do a little Sgraffito. My color palette is still limited. I'm working in the neutral range and then over the whole surface. Okay, now if okay, it's not working how I thought. Sometimes if you scrub across where the Sgraffito is, you pick up that texture. Okay, but it wasn't really happening. Okay. Going with the indigo now. Added a little water and then I bring this across. I'm going to wipe. I'm hoping that it's going to stain in those grooves. So now I'm painting with a rag. Why not? So it stains in the grooves, but it's pretty faint. See if I can stain in this little Sgraffito line right here. Okay, I want to go thicker on this stamped area. I want to go more impasto. Okay, I could go on and on. I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to try and have some things overlapping in front of and in back of. I'm going to pop this blue out more with a thicker glob. Going to get, let's see. Okay, I want to have this overlap these lines slightly. trying to pull this shape forward. Going to do a little bit more in here. Okay, there's definitely more I could do. I see one other thing, and then I'll stop myself here. I'm going to make that dark, almost like a little, to bring the eye down, almost like a little punctuation mark. Okay. Again, the paint is wet enough. If I didn't like that, I could paint back over it. But I started with this limited palette, and then, see, I can't help myself. I would probably bring in another color at some point. I don't know what that is. It might be an orange. I don't know. So that's the first round of building a layered painting with Sgraffito and some stamped and charcoal drawn structure. And then, like most painters, they'd obsess on it, look at this for days, come back, do some more layering, and so on. Okay,